Okay then, Helldivers, we are back. We've got loads to go over today as the Galactic War map is now ramping up. We are closing in on this major order, the biggest one that we've seen to date, and we have only got 4 days remaining on it, of which we are substantially winning this. We've also got to take a look at their alleged Christmas gift that they provided us with. I did sit on it a little bit over the Christmas period, and hopefully you guys have had an amazing Christmas Day and Boxing Day afterwards, and then leaning back into content to see what it is that we've got coming from Johan Pilestats. Now, I've got a few opinions on this one, and this is primarily what it's going to revolve around, so let's see what it is that he's saying, and I'll give you my 2 cents on the matter. With that being said, if you haven't already, smash that beautiful like button and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. Make sure you check out our incredible sponsor, Instant Gaming, the platform where you can get your video games cheaper for PC and console with the best deals, offers, promotions, and discounts, all running up to 70% off on old and new games alike. The link is down in the description for that one, and if you want to get your hands on some free super credits, which hopefully will be used for something big inside of the game very soon, then make sure you head down into the comments and just put a fire emoji and it'll enter you in. With that being said, let's just dive into the game and see what's happening right now inside of Helldivers 2. So starting off, we've got to take a look at the Galactic War map, and this is a large one because, well, we've only got a few days remaining on the clock, and as we can see right here, with the 4 days and 13 hours, we have actually managed to liberate 5 more planets than have been taken away from us, which is a substantial amount. At this point in time, a lot of Helldivers are currently over on Tarsh, as there is a defense campaign over there on that one with the Jet Brigade, of which I do thoroughly enjoy. The Jet Brigade are probably one of my favorite sub-factions, so if you're yet to experience them, whether it's a brand new player over Christmas or you've been playing through Xbox and are yet to see these guys, it's definitely a load of fun, and I would recommend going over there for sure. We also have some Helldivers currently on Mech. This one is a bit of a weird planet, and with the Illuminate still not having their sub-faction come through yet, it's kind of a little bit lackluster, but if you enjoy those Illuminate foes, well, you can go ahead and do that, or hit that Gambit on Oasis with a low 0.71 resistance. And over on the bug sector right now, what Chaos and Carnage is hitting, but it kind of shows how little their new content has actually managed to resonate with players, as right now we can see right here that the Rupture Strain are currently over on Fori Prime, and even making moves over towards Level 43, where we're seeing the Dragon Roaches and so much more. There's just not many players over on the bug sector. Let me know, what is it about the bugs that you are not enjoying right now, and maybe even the development team will take a look into this and see where it is that that's at, because the biggest planet is the Hive World planet of Omicron, and right now there's 700 players on there. Nobody's interested in playing that brand new content that hit the mark from Into the Unjust, and I find it extremely interesting to know that that's the case. Nonetheless, we've got to take a look at what it is that's been said via Johan Pilestats' interview that he did on Christmas Day that they actually released. A nice little gift, although I did receive the notification from the Helldivers Twitter page and did think that we were receiving a free gift or something a little bit more giving than this interview right here, which is a bit of a weird one. I know that a lot of people have already covered this, but it's just the way that I kind of look at how it is that he spoke about it. I watched the interview, and majority of it did seem a little bit like fluff of, we can't do this for this reason, or we won't be doing this for this reason, or there's no insight from the development team to be able to do that, or we've got too much tech debt to be able to achieve this. There were a few things, though, that he did go over that were intriguing to me, to say the least. The first of which was about the boss fight experimentation, which apparently the development team are currently tinkering with and experiencing a little bit of an experimentation with regards to. I think that the boss fights, or at least receiving them in some way, would be a very clever idea, and the way that he's incorporating it mid-mission, it switching up, and all of a sudden your stratagems completely make no sense, and a mid-mission new intel switch up would be pretty damn cool. But listen to what he has to say about this.
There's some thoughts and experimentations on what could happen if we add champions or boss fights into the game that are more substantial than the current battles.
Now, I like the idea of the boss fights, and I think it could be very, very cool indeed, although the way that their game actually works and the amount that they can actually bring into it essentially means that they would have to lose a lot in terms of the horde shooting variety to be able to actually do that, because, well, their engine can't actually take it. So he's already made a statement that they couldn't do the difficulty scaling based on having more of a horde because the engine can't allow it. So it's a bit of a weird one, but I want to know where you guys stand at with regards to the boss fights right now. In terms of mech customization, though, he does talk quite a lot about this and why it is that they can't actually do it. They have pigeonholed themselves essentially by making 2 mechs, at least at the moment, that they have their own customization points. Now, my argument on this is pretty well known. Take a look at this one.
The problem is that we made a decision early on where we added multiple mechs as very different stratagems, and that design has sort of pigeonholed us a little bit in how would we handle that going back. Would we consider those like a variant of the core mech, or would we remove stratagems? And I don't think removing stratagems is the right way to go, because we've already made that commitment to the community.
Now, I think that they may well be looking at this too much on a literal cause of having the arms be changeable. Now, obviously, they have pigeonholed themselves. They've got 2 mechs now, of which have variations of their arms, but there are numerous different ways that they could actually allow customization in terms of it. Having this stratagem launcher in there would be an absolutely cool addition that you guys could unlock and attach in. Having a lighter frame, more like an exosuit style, actually would also be really, really cool, and being able to generate a heavier version of a mech and having that customization where you implement a reinforced armor around the outside of it would also be a very cool customization. I think sub-customizations on side of these mechs would make for a very cool variation of it. I know a lot of people want to change up their arms, but unfortunately they have pigeonholed themselves with that one, that's for sure. The next conversation is an interesting one, because this one's about level increase. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, we have been level 150 now for around a year. It's been a very, very long time since we saw any level increase whatsoever, and they do have a carryover in XP per se. So a lot of you guys, when they release these new levels, are going to hit max level almost instantaneously, unless they remove that feature, because this has already happened once before. Now, the thing that we're seeing with that is that they are currently working on it, so listen to what Johan has to say right now.
Yes, absolutely. When? Don't know. But it is one of those things that we constantly have on, that's constantly slipping outside of the things that we want to get done for the next update.
So it does appear that it's been on the listing for a little while, but it just kind of gets dropped in priority consistently. So as to when that's ever going to make its way into the game, yet again, we have no idea, and it's not looking to be anytime soon, but it is something that they are talking about in terms on the studio. As well as that, some of you guys will be disappointed to hear that there were meant to be some bigger scales for the Super Destroyer. We were meant to have a Super Destroyer garage for your mech, FRV, and more. Take a listen to this.
You know what? This is actually one of those features that were cut before release. So if you go on the ship and look down into the hangar space, you can see that there's various alcoves. Those were supposed to be for the mech and for the other vehicles that you would be able to get in the game. So it's something that we have been talking about. It's like, how can we get people down there to be able to view the mechs and the other vehicles that they have.
Now, for me, that's extremely cool, and I'm absolutely gutted that that was something that was scrapped, and I'm actually really intrigued as to the more detailed version as to why it was scrapped, because it's mainly just a bit of a visionary thing. You can walk around the Super Destroyer, go and visit all of these places, you can see the hellpods being worked on that are going to drop you down, and so on and so forth, and I think it's a really cool initiative, and having that garage there for the FRV, being able to go down stairs a layer, would have been very, very cool. I don't know why they scrapped it out, but it's just one of those that unfortunately we no longer have. And one of the biggest topics in Helldivers right now is with regards to the major orders, and being able to actually have stratagem major orders. And if you guys don't know what that is, that's because you are relatively new to the game and haven't yet ever bloody experienced them, because it's been so long since they gave us the opportunity to. But there used to be things inside of the game where you could pick to liberate one planet or the other, and each one had a different stratagem tied to it. The community would have to make a decision as a community, and we would essentially get that stratagem at the end of the MO. And what they want to try and do is give the game master more power to be able to actually do that. And how it is that they incorporate that apparently is at least on the cards. Listen to this.
There is, I'm not going to say too much, but there is a large initiative going on within the studio of giving the game master more power. So, and I'll leave it at that.
Very interesting indeed, something that I definitely want to happen, and these major orders need to have a little bit more substance in them. They definitely once upon a time did, and unfortunately now do not, but it appears that the game may well be going under different routines, as there is seeming to be a new game mode, at least one, in the works right now. This is a very interesting statement, and we're going to go over that in just a second. Listen to this.
And we have some cool game modes upcoming that has some of... It's cool. Cool stuff upcoming.
Now, this is extremely entertaining for me, and the reason why it gets me going a little bit is because just a few days ago now, Johan Pilestad was talking about a rogue-type prototype that they had actually got in the midst, and where they didn't state whether it was scrapped from the beginning of the game or if it was being worked on now, but it does look like there is a potential for a roguelite version of the game coming into it in terms of a new mode. We haven't seen any modes inside of this game, so it would be pretty cool to have different variations of Helldivers and how it is that you actually play the game and incorporate your stance on being able to liberate planets. For me, very, very exciting indeed, but it's probably one of the only pieces of information that was pretty much solidified. And my 2 cents on this is pretty standard. I think a lot of these things were dismissed. I think a lot of things were taken back, and there were a lot of things that they are stating that they are due to work on at some stage, but there has been put down to the bottom of the priority listing. For me personally, I'd love to see what the priority listing actually is. I know that they're working on the performance and making sure that it scraps up to date, but I don't know what it is that they're working for in terms of content. Where is it the game will go? We'll have to wait and see. But this was my 2 cents on the matter, and I think a lot of it is really good news, but they just actually have to materialize it. And that, for me, is the biggest problem that Arrowhead has at the moment. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. We are going to go over your top comments on the next video, so make sure that you hit the comment section with something relevant. The top voted will make its way in. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and as always, I'll see you in the clouds.